do you do for the lab today is and so on is that 4 group will come at 2 o'clock sharp, yeah, 2 o'clock sharp, because otherwise and the other group will come half an hour later. Yeah.
Okay.
Faham? So kita punya lab nanti, our lab will be one group at 2, another group at 3:30. Yeah, because the lab is small. The nutrition lab is also small, so the equipment is limited. Only 2 groups can work on one machine, so there's no point of having 8 groups at one go. So that's why we divide the groups into 8, and then 4 comes in the first session, and another 4 group comes in the second session. Okay, is it okay with that? All right.
Yes, Pak. Yeah.
Okay. Then I can proceed with the. I've not worked for about 11 months, so dah tak berapa pandai dah apa ni guna ni ya. Hold on, stay with me. Let me find out. Okay, present now. Can you see the slides now?
Can, Prof.
Okay. All right. I hope you are in the right class. AKU3401, Aquaculture Nutrition. I'm Muhammad Saleh Kamaluddin, and there's my phone number there. And you have any problem or any question, the CR or anybody can contact me regarding the class and the subject. Okay. Please take note that the lecture is on Thursday, 10 to 12. It's supposed to be KTU, but it seems that online, so it's okay for the time being. But for the test, I prefer to have it in the class, yeah. So that I can see you guys, because for the last almost 2 years, when we come out with the online test, some of you Google the answers, and the answers are incorrect. Ajaran Sonsang because on online you can see that some are some information are correct, some are wrong. Yeah, so there are some of you who choose to Google and cut and paste the answers, and the answers is not right. All right. So for test and final, I prefer to have it face to face. So we'll see how things are. Yeah. For the lab, you're talking about the same day today, and I've mentioned to you that it's not 3 to 5, 3 to 6. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let me correct this. It's 2 to 5. Yeah. And we will have a lot of challenges, especially during the Ramadan months, yeah, where we shouldn't go more than 5 o'clock, because Anche Firdaus, who's helping me with the lab, is staying in Seremban. So we hope that he will not be delayed to get home for iftar. Yeah. All right. So I make clear that the class will be half-half. Yeah. And this is a course outline. This course include lectures on the nutrient requirements in fish, including crustacean. We talk about digestion. We talk about metabolisms, and types of feed, how to process it, how to store it, how to evaluate the diet, um, standards of the diet, and also we will also emphasize on the feeding practices. Yeah, what are the good feeding practices? So this is very important. If you formulate good food or you're giving the fish good food, but you do not know how to uh, take care of the or to conduct good feeding practices, then it will be useless. Yeah. Right. The learning objective of this course, one is that we hope at the end of the class, the student should be able to explain what are the suitable uh, feeding practices for the aquatic animals. Uh, you should be able to do the analysis of the main component in a feed. You are talking about the protein, a lipid, fiber, ash, etc. And in the ingredients and also in the completed feed. And you should have that, what do you call it, that expertise or the skill to do that. Yeah. And the fifth one is to the third one is to you will be able to know what are the actually it's not presenting the business opportunity in feed formulation, feed making, but you are talking about having the what are importance and how the feed millers are making money and how can you join the industry or which is as feed. You should know that feed is cost about 50% and more in the operational cost for the fish, yeah, in aquaculture. All right. Before we go, I would like to introduce this guy. His name is John Halver. He's very famous guy. If you have any question, ask me. Huh? Uh, John Halver is the father of aquaculture nutrition or fish nutrition. He wrote many books on fish nutrition. Yeah, he's already passed away, and when people talk about Halver, it will be an honor to become his student. And I'm one of the few fortunate Malaysian that has been taking courses from him. Yeah, and I took fish nutrition under him in 1981 or 80, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, right. I still have his notes. The course was fish 452, 3 credit hours. You can see the lecture there, 3 hours lecture, and there is no lab for his lecture. Yeah, for this course, there's no lab. All right. I still have this the notes, the micro notes that I made. This is the book that I used to take the lecture notes. and every day after class I will make a micro notes, and I will use the micro notes for my learning, and use that for lectures, for what do you call it, for tests and everything. I will rely on my micro notes. You guys are now fortunate because there is already an online lecture notes. Yeah. Otherwise, during my days, I have to jot down. Yeah. All right. So just a bit on myself, since I've already introduced you, Professor John Halver, who is the father of fish nutrition. I got my bachelor degree from University of Washington. Yeah, this is University of Washington, in majoring in two subject: invertebrate culture and also fish culture. Invertebrate, you are talking about. We learn more on oysters and shrimp culture. And for the fish culture, we learn about ocean ranching on salmon and also rainbow trout and others, yeah, and a few others there. All right. And this is the campus during spring. Now is a spring on the campus. Huh? It's so beautiful place. Yeah. So I got my degree in 82. So you can always what do you call it, guess my age. Yeah. Then I did my master's from 82 to 84. I did my master's in Auburn University under another famous fish nutritionist, and he mainly worked on the what do you call it, warm water fish nutrition. Yeah, I will introduce him slightly later. This is the campus. Uh, this campus is located in the big city. Yeah? Seattle is a big city, but Auburn is a very small. It's a very small city. Anyone from Parit Jawa Muar is as big as Parit Jawa, the city. Yeah, so it's a very small city, but it's a university town. It has a population of 20,000 students. It has a very good football team. Yeah, these two has a very good football team. Yeah, uh, and okay, in NCA, this they have two good college team. Yeah, football team. Right. Then after that I came back to Malaysia to start working at UPM. And what happened is that I was offered a place for PhD from 84 onward. Unfortunately, UPM wrote um, to GPA not to continue my scholarship. So without a scholarship, I wouldn't survive. And at that time I didn't expect that the GPA will stop my scholarship, so I did not apply for any teaching assistant or research assistant there. So that was a big blow. Huh? See, coming from Parit Jawa Muar, uh, from a kampung, so my parents would not have any means to support my study there. Yeah? So I came back and worked for about 5 years. Yeah. Only then in 1989, late 89, I went to University of Wales. Now they call universities Bangor University. Yeah? So this is University of Wales. I did my PhD in marine biology, in specializing in crustacean nutrition. Yeah. All right. Are you guys still with me? It seems very quiet, huh?
Yes, Prof.
Yes, Prof.
Okay. All right. Because I cannot see your face when I put on the slides. Yeah. All right. This is Richard Tom Lovell, but everybody knows him as Tom Lovell. He always write in journal as Tom Lovell, but in general he put his RT Lovell, but everybody call him Tom. Yeah, he's also quite famous. He's just passed away about 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, in an traffic accident. Yeah. So this guy, unfortunately, I don't have the photo of Jeff Jones. Yeah, I've searched the net and I couldn't find him. I think it was my mistake when he was still around as a professor. I did not download his photos. Yeah? So I do not have his photos, but he's famous for. He's the first person to develop micro diets for shrimp larvae. Yeah. At that time, micro encapsulation diet was not around, so he developed the diet and sold his patent to, at that time, the company called Prepack. Prepack is a sub company of, the parent company is called Mars. Mars yang buat coklat tu. So it's very famous, big company, giant company, multinational that produce chocolate. But at the same time, they create a company to produce micro-encapsulated diet mainly for shrimp early on, where he make the diet to simulate the artemia, yeah, one of the live feed for the fish larvae. This company was later bought by Inve. So if you know, Inve is a very big company now. They have rebadged themselves, and Inve, what do you call it, aquaculture now is a very big, a major player in aquaculture and also in the larval feed industry. Yeah. Right, this is about the dates. I've already posted this on Putra Blast. Okay, some date that you need to remember: 28 will be our first test, and 9 June is another second test, and then we'll have a final. Right. So the class will cover on today, just like today is on the introduction. We talk about the definition, which is sometimes very important that will come out in the test. We talk about the classification of feeding and so on. Yeah. And later we will talk about the function, the source, and also the requirements of micronutrient in fish and a crustacean. And when we talk about macronutrient, we're talking about protein, lipid, and carbohydrates, and so on. Yeah. And later we will talk on the micronutrients. Yeah. Micronutrients include vitamins, minerals, and additives. Yeah. So these are also important for the fish. Yeah. And then later we will talk about the nutrient deficiency. What are the symptoms? If what are the cause and so on. And later we talk about the feed processing from simple formulation. I will just teach you the simple formulation. If you want to know about the more advanced formulation, you should take the other course, yeah, later, the feed technology course, where we will teach you how to use computer software to formulate the more complicated diet. Yeah. And then we'll talk about the food processing, just a simple one. If you want to know more, you have to take the other course, yeah, and how feed are made. And then we'll talk about the feeding practices, yeah, and then we'll also emphasize on the law part. Yeah, we are talking about the Animal Feed Act, the 2009. So it is very important when you take this course. You should all know that feed is also covered in the Malaysian law. Yeah, and for lab today, I will talk about on approximate analysis, and then you will be given a tour of the lab and see some of the equipments that are involved here for the approximate analysis. Yeah, and then you will be doing the approximate analysis. You will do the protein, lipid, and so on, ash, and also gross energy. You might just able to see the how do we what do you call it, do the bomb kilometer. You might not probably one of you or just will have the what do you call it, the opportunity to use that, because we have only one bomb, working bomb, so not everybody will have the chance to do it. Yeah, because it takes time in terms of preparation and so on. And once you have finished all your approximate analysis, we'll have you present the result. Huh? And then later we have another lab to classify and also identify what are the supplementary feed, what are the feed ingredients, and also on the formulated feed. Yeah. And then one lab I'll teach you, I will give you some questions on the feed formulation, and I'll show one or two in the lab, and the rest you have to do it. Yeah, and probably in this lab we can combine. Yeah, yeah. Instead of let's see how the lab class are. Otherwise, we have to do it in two groups also. Yeah. Otherwise, online. Yeah. All right. Then we'll have some lab on making the paste or moist pellet and also dry pellet. Yeah. And then last is we'll do the quality control or test the physical properties of the pellet. Yeah, that we make. And probably in this we use water stability. Okay. All right. Then we are talking about the cost evaluation. 15% for the first test, second test. I'll also give quizzes. Don't forget the quizzes. Always watch out in the Putra Blast on the quizzes and assignments. Yeah, 10%, and then the lab report will be 20%. The presentation, this is 10%. It's a group presentation, yeah? And another the final will be about 30%. Yeah. All right. Any question there with the class evaluation or cost evaluation? As of today, I think there's already one quiz one, yeah, online. All right, let's begin with the class. The introduction. I've done some of the briefing of the class, what can be expected from the class. Now I go ahead with the introduction of the class. We go into the class now. Yeah. So definition of nutrition. What is nutrition? Or what is fish nutrition? Nutrition is a science that study a series of processes which include eating and digesting of food or feed. Once they are digested, we also study absorbing the nutrients and we also study the absorption of the nutrients for tissue repair growth, and last is breeding. Yeah. So if you convert it as fish nutrition is a science that study a series of processes in fish that include eating and digesting the food or the feed and absorbing the nutrients for tissue repair, growth, and also breeding. All right. So make sure the when you if I ask you this question, you should be able to write it properly. Yeah. So very important. I will check if you have said that it's a science, eating, feeding, absorbing, eating the food. I look into the tissue repair, growth, and breeding. Okay. And when you feed something, a fish, the first what do you call it? The first objective is to make sure that it's enough for the tissue repair and also for growth. Yeah, unless you are doing the broodstock or hatchery business, then you will also need to concentrate on the food to make sure that not only that it covers the tissue repair and growth, but it also must meet the breeding requirement of that particular fish. Right. So another term in aquaculture is food. What is food? Food is defined as all naturally eaten things or all things that are naturally eaten by the fish in the wild or captivity. Captivity, if we keep it in, let's say, a pen or a lake, yeah, especially a lake, a man-made lake, whatever, and we, what do you call it? We fertilize the ponds and so on. Whatever they eat in the wild or captivity are considered as food. Yeah. So there are naturally available things. Yeah, you are talking about in some fish, for example, for silver carp. Silver carp is a planktivore. They will eat on a microalgae. Yeah, and then there is a big head carp. Big head carp is later they will feed on the zooplankton. Yeah, is a sort of plankton feeder. All right, and then this for silver carp, this also eat on the filamentous algae. So microalgae and filamentous algae. And then grass carp will feed on the grass, all the weeds, aquatic weeds that are available in the environment, the wild or in the pond. Big Ape, I have introduced you that they eat on rotifers and other copepods, crustacean, and all these food that are available in the water column. Yeah. So these are what they call it. Surface feeders. Yeah, these are surface feeders, service feeders. This is bottom feeder, and then we have another group like carps, yeah, common carps, or lico, or koi. They feed on worms, insects, and snails that are available in the water column and also in uh, on the bottom, on the pond bottom. Yeah, so they feed that. And then we are talking about predators like catfish, siak carp, etc. Yeah. What else? They will feed on other smallest animals, insect, frogs, fish, yeah, as their main food. So these are their food organism that they feed in the natural environment. Yeah. And recently, one of the professors he was studying the the feeding habit of ikan patin buah, but it seems that his counterpart bought the wrong fish. Yeah, so when he dissect the fish, he found no food in the fish. Yeah. All right. Then another term in aquaculture or fish nutrition is feed. Yeah. So there are food and feed. So many you that food are the naturally available food in the particular environment. While feed is either semi or fully processed food, yeah, for farm animals. In feed, there is a supplementary feed. They are from plants, animals, and could be the byproduct of the food industry. Yeah. So some of the supplementary feed that are being used to feed your fish, like broken rice, yeah, the da. Now the da is people. The da is initially rice brand, yeah, rice brand, but now the da has been misused the term, and the da in some people say when they talk about the da is you're talking about the formulated feed, which is not right. Yeah, the da is actually rice brand. Yeah, and then we have other oil cakes, the coconut or copra, yeah? Cottonseed, mustard, soybean, and etc. Yeah, so sunflower meal, canola meal, and so on. These are the oil cakes that are sometimes used to as a feed for the fish. Yeah, others are what from animal byproduct. We are talking about poultry offal meal, perut ayam, and a lot of the blood and so on. Yeah. Okay. And sometimes we use kangkong to supplement the feed in the on a kangkong and others, alfalfa and so on. These are used especially for herbivorous fish and also omnivorous, but have that tendency to eat more animal plant materials. Yeah. So, for example, is lampam Jawa, cry lampam. So these are the feed that sometimes given as a supplementary feed. Yeah? And then we have complete feed. Complete feed is a prepared diet that we formulated to have all the nutrients required and nutrients for these animals, and then it can be prepared into pellets, crumble, paste, etc. Yeah. So this, when you see this, these are the feed. Whereas if you see kangkong, chop alfalfa, or chop napier grass, these are considered as supplementary feed. Yeah? Okay, what are ration? Another term that you need to know in nutrition is ration. Ration is the amount of food that you give over 24 hours. So it could be, usually people describe it as a percentage of body weight. So as the fish grow, the amount of feed given in percentage body weight goes down. Yeah, you are talking about when you give at larval stage, probably about 40 to 20%. As it goes larger, then we talk about for grow out is only up to 4% per day. Yeah, 4% body weight. Diet is usually compared to feed. Diet means a food prepared for special objective. Yeah? And this is usually diet. We call it diet when we make the feed for research purposes. let's say that we want to see what effect of pigments on the fish growth and also color. So that's a diet, not a feed. Feed is normally for the commercial or for the commercial farming purposes, but diet is usually for research purposes. All right. I think if you have taken principle of aquaculture, I'm not sure who taught you principle of aquaculture in the first year. First year or second year? Second year.
Second year.
Yeah,
Encik Abdullah.
Cik Abdullah.
Ah,
Wow, you are very fortunate because uh, he's from the industry. He also is a master graduate from Auburn. Yeah. So I when I was in Auburn, dia tak datang lagi. He was my junior, and when I left Auburn, he came to Auburn, yeah, for his masters. So tak sempat jumpa lah. So we met after he graduated in Malaysia. All right. So it's very good. So in terms of principle of agriculture, we have been trained well in Auburn, yeah, on the principle of aquaculture, especially in warm water aquaculture. Right. This must have been touched where fish is considered very efficient animal compared to land animals, especially in the term of energy use. Yeah? Fish release only artemia. Artemia. Fish release ammonia. Yeah, compared to terrestrial animals, they release uric acid. So there's another process to process the ammonia, which will consume energy. So fish will lose less energy because the metabolic process of the protein stop at ammonia as the what they call metabolic production, yeah, or the after the ammonia, what do you call it? The byproduct of protein digestion is ammonia compared to uric acid, yeah, for the terrestrial animal, including us. Right, then it has the same density as water, so they use less energy to maintain themselves and also move in the water column. Fish has also gas bladder for some, yeah. So the gas bladder will help for them to maintain their position in the water. So they will use less energy there. And kira macam sama dengan submarine lah. So submarine will use less energy when they travel in water. And other than the shape, they are apa ni? What do you call it? Fuse shape, so senang dalam air. And they are also poikilothermic, where they do not need to maintain a constant body temperature, so it's easier. So they spend less energy to maintain their body temperature. All right. And then when look at fish, we talk about the feeding classification, and feeding classification can be based on the feeding behavior and also the type of food. I will mention it later on the type of food. All right. Feeding behavior, we are talking about where do they eat. If they eat at a feeding surface, you can identify them. Most of them has a superior mouth. Yeah? This is a superior position. Then you know that these are this type of fish are surface feeder. Example of this type of fish, apa dia? Dia punya mulut macam ni, the mouth superior position. probably ikan apa ni, ikan parang dan sebagainya. Ya, superior mouth ya. So dia surface feeder. And most zooplankton fish ni juga di atas ya. And then we have a column feeder. The column feeder will have a terminal mouth. Ya, di depan ni. Yeah, terminal mouth. And the bottom feeder, they have inferior mouth. Bukan maksudnya inferiority tu. Yeah, this inferior means the position. And some of these fish, ada soalan ya? Okay.
No.
And some, yeah. Any question?
Sorry, Doktor, saya terbuka mic. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. And bottom feeder, some of the fish has barbels. You tahu dah apa barbel? So these are some sort of, you are talking about bottom feeder, you are talking about the catfish, some carps. Yeah. So once they have this, it means that they feed at the bottom of the water. And then we are talking about the filter feeder. For fish, the mouth position is at terminal. So these are some of the example of the filter feeder. Macam you're talking about if silver carp, they also filter feeder ya. Dia mouth dia lain sikit macam ni. Dia tapi terminal ya, gigi dia halus. Other filter feeder are the bivalve. Ini for fish ya. Udang also and udang apa ni? Shrimp, prawns and crabs, they are also bottom feeder. Yeah, mouth dia lain lah. When we talk about the crustacean, the mouth different sikit. Ni we are talking about just a fish. So for fish, there are 4 types of feeding behavior. We are talking about surface, column, bottom, and filter. Jangan usually I ask this question, and some student, you don't have to include this bivalve because we are talking about just the fish, where the mouth position and also their feeding behavior. All right. Another thing is we talk about the food and also the mouth. Yeah, the relationship between the both and mouth. Carnivorous fish, they feed on other smaller fish and others, crustacean and crabs and so on. Yeah, and their mouth is, they have very big teeth. Yeah, very sharp and teeth. These are the carnivorous. They need this type of teeth or mouth because they need to catch and kill, make the kill, and at the same time they need to tear the feet apart. So they need this type of mouth, yeah, with this type of sharp big teeth. Yeah. Right, and then you're talking about herbivorous, including plantivores, just like a grass carp. Yeah, mulut dia macam ni, gigi dia tak tajam, malah slightly what do you call it, finer compared to this. Yeah. Omnivorous, there are a lot of omnivorous fish. Herbivorous will, carnivorous will feed only on animals. Yeah, exclusively on animals. Herbivorous will feed exclusive on plant materials. Omnivorous are fish that eat on both plant materials and also animal materials, yeah, and animals and any other aquatic animals. Yeah. Some of these omnivorous, they have the tendency to have more plants in their food, whereas some has the the tendency to have more animal position in their food. Ya, saya habis saya ulang. Alright, and then we have frugivorous. Frugivorous are a specialized fish that eat only on fruits. You are talking about the fruit that fell in, or falls in the water, in the rivers, in the lake, and so on. Yeah? For example, this is piranha. Yeah? I forgot to mention this is piranha. This is grass carp. Some of however, this one is a common carp. Yeah? And the frugivorous are a good example is paku. PACU. Kat Malaysia orang panggil pacu. Actually should be pronounced as paku. PACU is paku, not pacu. So this paku is a close relative to piranha, but the feeding behavior is different. One is carnivorous. Oh, sorry. One is carnivorous. One is frugivorous. Look at the teeth, just like our teeth. Gigi dia besar-besar. This use paku likes to eat nuts. So they need a very strong jaw and big teeth to crush the nuts and fruits. Okay, that's you can define the feeding types according to the food. And apart from the mouth, you can also look at the feed types using the guts, the digestive tract. For example, if you are talking about carnivores, this one is for rainbow trout. Or what else? Harwan and so on. They will have a very short digestive tract. Yeah, you can see that they have a large stomach. Okay, and then probably Sika probably no, and just a short intestine. Yeah. And for omnivore that emphasize on animals, for example, catfish, they have a bigger mouth, bigger stomach, and a longer gut. Yeah. And for omnivore that emphasize on plant sources, this is carp. Yeah. For example, carp. You can see that some might not have a stomach. Yeah. Some carps do not have stomach. They have just a long intestine. Yeah. And if you are talking about the micro phantom feeders, plankton feeders, or herbivorous, they will have a what do you call it, a stomach and a very long, winding intestine. Yeah? So these are is the planktivores and also the herbivorous. However, there is some variance, or some differences in the herbivorous or exceptions for some herbivorous fish. For example, surgeon fish is herbivorous, but the stomach is they have a short stomach and then long straight intestine. Yeah? Whereas mullet, for example, ikan belanak, they have a stomach and then gizzard here, and then barulah dia punya is a bit longer gut, a longer intestine. And for parrotfish, basically they macam the whole thing, stomach, and so there is exceptional sometimes. They don't have they have a very short intestine here, so the digestion and the absorption occurs here. Not for fish, normally digestion is in the stomach, and most of the absorption of the nutrient occurs in the intestine. This is sea chub, slightly different also, the mouth, and they have a intestine front hind gut, and then all of a sudden there is a hind gut. Dia ada dua di sini. So here is hind gut. There is also macam a secondary stomach here. So these are for better absorption. Slightly different for herbivorous, for marine fish. Right. Okay. This is basically the anatomy of digestive tract in fish. We are talking about they have esophagus, stomach, may have pylorexica, and maybe not. Not all fish has these, and then the intestine, and of course the last part is cloaca or rectum. Banyak orang kata recent apa ni issue you are talking about apa yang squid ring sampai orang kata di rectum babi, which is not right. So as a scientist kadang-kadang kita tak boleh percaya cakap orang, kena check juga. Alright. And another thing that you know what they eat is to do the gut analysis. What type of food that they eat, we do the gut analysis. So we go to the wild, get the fish, take out the guts, and cool it down, or you stop it, you freeze it, and then bring back to the lab. While in the lab, you have to dissect the guts, take out all the feed from the stomach, and then you start looking at the composition of the feed. I don't like to do this job. Our Professor Aziz, he did a lot of work on that, on the gut analysis. You look at what is the composition of the food, composition of the organism that are being taken by the fish. We are talking about, he said that small fish, how many percentage of fish that they eat, how many percentage of plant materials. They might have need to identify if animal material, what are they? Probably fish, probably clams, invertebrates, and so on. So invertebrate, the partial digested vertebrate, he need to identify what they are. So it's a very tedious, meticulous work, and you need a lot of patience to do this study. All right. And for plants, what they are, whether they are aquatic plants, or is it their planktons and so on. Sometimes he has to identify what type of zooplanktons or what type of phytoplanktons that are being eaten by the fish. If you are interested, you can do your final work with food feeding habit. All right. That's we are talking about the type of food. Now we are looking at the mouth cavity. You have some fish, they have pharyngeal teeth. For example, for grass carp and black carp. Black carp are bottom feeder, they feed on clams. So you can see that behind the mouth, they have this pharyngeal teeth. For black carp, they need to grind the what do you call it? To grind the clams. While for grass carp, they need to grind the plants that they eat. Uh, and then you have the front teeth, of course, the sharp teeth. For carnivore, you're talking about they need it for to capture the food, yeah, or the prey. And molar is to break the food. Molar teeth macam tadi in paku. And fish do not have a salivary gland like us, where we produce amylase. Yeah, they do not have that. The amylase are produced by the bile, yeah, by the stomach. Sorry, right. And then for fish, they swallow the food as a whole. Yeah, they don't chew like crustacean. Okay, esophagus is usually just very short. Esophagus, yeah, very short, and they are readily expandable. So when they fish swallow, sometimes they do not need to grind; they just fold the whole thing into their pass through the esophagus into the stomach. Okay, the stomach depend on type of fish. Catfish, salmon, eel, they have a proper stomach. Yeah? Carps, they say that do not have stomach or stomachless, but some carps have stomach. Yeah? While some might not have a proper or pure, they call it, stomach. Carps and tilapia, they do not have stomach. So if you have taken the course earlier, you might have looked at the stomach of some fishes. Right, intestine. There some have long intestine, some have very short. Carnivorous has very short intestine. For catfish, 1/3 of the body length. For tilapia, they have very long intestine, up to 3 times of the body. Some fish have 4 times more than the body. Yeah? So it depends on the types of feeding and also the feeding behavior. Intestine sometimes divided into midgut and also hindgut. Yeah, hindgut sebelah belakang. Normally in digestion is in the stomach and also in the midgut. Midgut, and the absorption usually occurs in the hindgut. Yeah. Some fish are poorly differentiated, the anterior and also the proximal. Sometimes they divide into 3, and also the midgut and also the terminal section, the hindgut and rectum. Yeah. So the longer the intestine is, the more work there, the digestion more efficient. Yeah, in terms of digestion and also absorption. So the the food are kept in the body or in the fish longer compared to carnivorous. They eat, digest, and quickly push out the food. And so in terms of digestion efficiency is better in the herbivorous and also omnivore fish compared to the carnivorous fish. That's why later I talk about FCR. Yeah? FCR will be larger for the carnivorous fish. Parasiticus are found in some, not all. This is the enlargement of stomach surface for digestion. Yeah? So the increase. Rectum, there is no clear define of rectum in the fish. It's the closure the anal sphincter. So this one will control when the feed is released into the fecal materials released into the water. Right. That's all on the introduction. Right? Any questions? Any question?
I think so far so good, Prof.
Okay, Hafizul nak tanya apa-apa? Tak ada? Macam nak tanya?
And this is just simple question. Is there any example for frugivorous fish?
For?
Mouth type like frugivorous. Is there any another example? Other than paku?
Oh, frugivorous.
Yeah.
Some people like kelah, for example, the masir, they also feed on fruits, but they are not 100% frugivorous, because other than fruits, they also, because the fruits are seasonal, especially you're talking about engkabang, ficus, buah ara, and so on. These fruits are seasonal, tak hari-hari ada, so they don't rely on that. They also eat invertebrates so that's what they are. They are frugivorous, but they are also not 100%. They are also omnivorous. They eat on invertebrate, on clams, and so on. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
Okay. So far, yang 100% frugivorous, so probably in the Amazon you can see that there are plenty more, I guess. Yeah. In Sarawak patutnya ada banyak lagi spesies-spesies yang jarang kita lihat ada di Sarawak. So hopefully if the Sarawakian will really take care of their rivers to make sure that no alien invasive species are released into their water, the rivers. Kalau tengok sekarang sedih lah, sedih because kat Melaya ni you can see a lot of what do we have for keli, catfish. There are a lot of African catfish is already in the rivers. It's very difficult for us to find local catfish, the walking catfish, apa ni, Clarius batrachus, Callius gabriopinus, the keli bunga, very difficult nak cari. And for the culture, people are culturing African catfish, and it's a sad that some of these fish are being released into the water, especially during Vesak Day. Yeah? So make sure that if you are a Buddhist, make sure that you remind the followers or ask the monk to remind the followers during the before the Vesak Day not to release any fish, any alien fish, into our rivers. Now we have a lot of fish, foreign fish. Alligator, gar pun dah ada in our rivers. We have very invasive species that eat on other fishes. For example, the peacock bass. They are also in the river, especially in Perak River and so on. So these fish eat the local fish. So they are carnivorous and they can breed. There's a problem. Kalau you're talking about Mekong catfish, ikan patin biasa tu, they are from Mekong. Itu dia tak boleh, they cannot naturally reproduce in our water. So kalau terlepas, still there is a buffer thing, because they don't grow, they don't breed. But tilapia, peacock bass, apa lagi? Once they when they release or they escape into our waters, they cause a lot of problem because they can breed. Paku can also breed. Now paku is getting nasty at one time, because dia apa ni? dia punya mouth tu dia jadi aggressive because they are very close to dengan piranha. They are very aggressive. They can tear the nets. They tear the nets and they escape into the water. So banyak masalah tu. That's why itu ada. There were a few years back, probably 10 years back, there was a case where somebody was taking a bath in a river and this paku bit his balls. So dia ingat mungkin dia makan fruits, so probably dia ingat ada fruits tu. Dia termakan that ball, so and this guy was so scared and pergi report, dia kata piranha sudah makan dia punya balls. So nasib baik tak hilang lah. Saya tak tahulah how damage happens to dia punya alat kan. But it's a pity lah because this fish is very very. So kalau dah tahu ada paku in your waters or in the rivers, janganlah mandi kat situ. Silap nanti hilang pula alat vital kita ya. Alright. Any other questions? Kalau tak ada, then we see you the first 4 groups at 2 o'clock sharp, and then the next group at 3:30 sharp ya. So kalau boleh jangan tangguh-tangguh because kita susah nanti nak proceed with our class ya. Alright. With that, I think kita adjourn the class. Awal sikit ini. Saya pun tak ada minuman lah ni. Kena cari air sekejap. Biasa saya ada. Oh, saya ada. Ini punya. Lupa. Dalam beg saya ada 1 botol. Alright. Thanks guys, and I hope to see you lepas ni ya. Pukul 2. Alright. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.